Now batting for the Reds, number 44, the shortstop, Hunter Greene.
Reds podcast. Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast. That's Ricky. I'm Roger. It's Wednesday at 8 p.m. We are live again. It's twice or in the 3 days. Like, oh man, we're getting prolific here. We're trying to get that content out to you. I mean, it's crazy because it's off season. You think there'd be nothing to talk about, Ricky, right? Like, there's been headlines all over the place. Lots of controversy, as the British like to say, also going on with the Redlegs and their star pitcher potentially and the rumors surrounding him. But before we get into that, I guess I don't really shout out All Gloves Off Media as much as I probably should. That's our new media venture we're trying to launch out with 4 different shows, ours being a part of it. Lights Out Podcast, which is every Tuesday, which was just last night. We got Sirhan, who's doing a show, it feels like every other day, from what I could tell, and Football with Cheese, and he uploads his videos mostly in reaction to what happened that week in football or maybe some big story of a trade. Like, for example, his team, I think the Packers, landed that huge trade to get Micah Parsons. So shout out to the Packers for getting better, I guess. But before we get into all that, we're going to be talking off-season Reds. We talked about the minor leagues recap on Monday. We talked about the Major League recap a week ago. But now we're just going to get into some random off-season things that the Reds are either looking to do or should do, or we have some different, debates to put out there to try to figure out what the 2026 Redlegs should look like. But before we get into all that, Ricky, what's been going on for you?
Just busy with the kids, man. Just been binge watching K-pop Demon Hunters just on nonstop repeat. It's a problem in this household, but yeah, it's a good movie. I'll admit it. It's not bad. It's good for kids, and it's got a good message behind it. So
yeah.
Other than that, not a whole lot.
I hear it's really popular. I'm holding off on my kids, and also there was like no song of the summer or whatever like that. They say that the K-pop song, the big one. I forget the name of it, but like that's like the song of the summer. Yeah, Golden's like the song of the summer. Yeah. So it's very popular stuff. So I'm sure that all the kids. I mean, my kids were talking about it. So luckily they haven't pressed me too hard.
Just wait, it'll be all blaring through your house.
Yeah, mine are a little bit younger than yours, so that's kind of good. Mine's more in the Minecraft world still, so we're still watching that movie like once a week.
Yeah, we're obsessed with Roblox right now. My 4-year-old is just crazy about it. Dad, buy me a Robux. I'm like, no, I'm not. Sorry, buddy.
Not yet. Yeah, well, moving on to some other things of like, a shout out to Mike and all his crew. They had their show last night. We also launched their Substack. We're going to be throwing up clips, and they're going to get their podcast, I believe, on Spotify. We're also a podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can check that out, Red Hot Reds Podcast. We really appreciate the listeners for that.
Yeah, we're also going to try to get on iHeartMedia. We're going to work towards that. I'm going to figure out how to do that, and we'll expand a little bit. And you can find Roger's work on Substack, the Red Hot Reds Substack. We're on Substack as well. He just had an Arizona Fall League piece come out yesterday.
Dominican League starts today.
Yeah, right, so lots of stuff going on. We're busy. The season's dead, but we're busy.
Well, I mean, I think it's actually more alive. I have a flag outside my house of the Cincinnati Reds that I usually put up on opening day and take down on the last day of the season. But like
raising it higher.
The season's not done. We got Trevor Kunsel pitching an inning and a third last night. We got the Mexican League also starting, a Mexican Pacific League, which I've never heard of until about 3 or 4 days ago. Our guy Ichiro Kano is playing in that. The guy.
What a name.
I know, it's great, and he's Mexican too. So like he might be a World Baseball Classic eligible player in March. So we might be seeing that, along with Ian Jabot in Great Britain. So we'll keep our tabs, we'll keep our eyes out for those things going forward. But it's kind of a crazy time. Like I said, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like we got more stuff to cover than ever, because I don't think the Arizona Fall League or the Dominican League gets as much shine as it, the major leagues, and the playoffs are going on as well, I guess, but we're not involved with that. Shout out to Mike, all Gloves Off Sports Media. We're going to be everywhere. Yeah, we're trying. We're trying to get in front of your eyeballs. So tell a friend, or be a friend, tell a friend, as they say, and shout us out. We're on Instagram Live as well, right? We got a bunch of people that follow us through there. The DSL guys, a lot of followers on the Instagram. So yeah, it's a good time to be, I guess, us in so many words. But yeah, anything you want to talk about, like in publishing stuff? You're also on, Reds Talk on SI. So if you want to shout out your work as well, if you got anything in the pipe, I know you've been putting out articles as much.
Yeah. So I'm kind of focusing on the minor league players throughout the off season. I plan on doing a player a day, weekdays, throughout the off season. I had a piece on, who did I do yesterday? Buck Farmer, I believe, was yesterday.
Okay.
And it's funny, I was texting Greg about it, and my original plan was one article highlighting one player through each league.
Yeah.
But then I was like, let's do one player per day and just forget the league and just focus on one player, and it's working pretty well. The Buck Farmer one got a lot of reactions on Facebook in the beloved Reds Facebook groups. Funny enough, it was actually pretty positive. It was actually pretty positive.
Okay, good.
Because it turns out some people actually read the article where they go, "Oh, Buck Farmer sucked," but it's like, no. If you look at his numbers, man, as soon as he came back, he was one of the best relievers in minor league baseball. And granted, he's 34, but if the numbers he had in the other two teams he pitched for, is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I remember actually 2024, end of 2024, he had a pretty decent year. It wasn't sterling, but it was kind of a situation where, like, they were, I don't know if they'd bring him back or not, because he did have a pretty good year. So him and Fernando Cruz, who got dealt in 2024, were like pretty reliable guys to go to out of the pen, is my recollection. So yeah, and my take is that he'll be on the open day roster in 26, because
I wouldn't be shocked.
I think he respects the organization. The organization respects him, and he might be a guy that, injuries or whatever might break his way, or he might just straight out earn it, because there's a bunch of guys that are not going to be coming back, and we could talk about that as well in terms of what the 26 roster may or may not look like. They put out the news out there that I guess MLB, the qualifying offer number is $22.05 million. And I don't know how many of those Red Legs are going to be getting that qualifying offer. They're free agents.
It better be somebody who's worth a whole lot more than 22.5, and then go leave so we get that draft pick
on this roster. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, the franchise tag for NFL. So I don't think they're getting any franchise tags on this 26 roster, or the guys that were on the 25 roster. So, but we'll get into that. The big headline of the day, of the week, that's been kind of going around, and I kind of got into it a little bit. I think Bryce Spalding was kind of put off by it. Our guy Greg Kuffner is put off by it. But Mark Sheldon put out an article, just like the other guy, the Cubs fan from Mason, put out an article a couple months ago, right, that we reacted to.
Give him credit. He was the first one to bring it up.
Ahead of the curve, as they say. So, like, Mark Sheldon put it out there, who's the Reds beat writer. He's, I think, on the payroll for the Cincinnati Reds, right? Like, it's not like a situation where he's on an independent, Cincinnati acquirer. But anyway, the point being is that the headline was the Reds should trade Hunter Greene, and they should try to get a bat basically out of it, because he's basically our biggest, most attractive trade piece. And essentially, it made Cincinnati Reds fandom go crazy. I mean, even our guy Tommy Bennett was talking about potentially the Red Sox acquiring Hunter Greene for maybe like a Jarren Duran or something like that. And I'm like,
I want more than Jarren Duran if I'm trading Hunter Greene.
Yeah, it's fair, but I mean, like that's the thing. That's the position that we are hypothetically in at this moment. Is what could they get? Are they taking phone calls? Are they actually seriously entertaining this? Is the question. No, none of those answers are really, or none of those questions are really answered at this stage of the proceedings. But I think that if there's smoke, there's fire a bit. Like if they're talking about it, it's not necessarily 100% a reality, but it's a possibility. And so much that he's the biggest guy that they can really get rid of at this point, and they can get something for him.
Yeah. So what scares me about it is, Gordon Whitmire, whatever. I don't take what he says as gospel when it comes to Reds media. But when Mark Sheldon says something, that you might as well say C. Trent Rosenkrantz is saying something too, because those two, in my opinion, are the two most credible when it comes to Reds rumors and Reds smoke, I guess. But I don't. How do you trade the best pitcher on your team with 4 years of team control at the amount of money he's owed?
I mean, I can see very well that it is just, it's the only move in a sense. Like you've thrown out there Lodolo, you've thrown out there Stevenson, guys that are under control that have some value. Oh gosh, if they trade an all-star away, that'd be great. But anyway, let's hopefully not go down that path. But like, if that's the best bargaining chip, right? Like we're talking about in terms of we're a small market. You know what I mean? Like we're in a situation where we're not going to be getting the biggest names as much as we'd like to dream of Kyle Schwarber and Cody Bellinger and whomever, right? It's more reality is Miguel Andujar is our reality, more or less, if we're going to get like cynical and realistic about it. But like if we're talking about dealing a guy with great contract, has great potential to be a Cy Young winner sooner than later, this is the move, and that's why I'm kind of like I'm not on the side of like get me right. I'm not on the side of trading Hunter. I'm trying to think out logically why this is still a topic, because like all the guys like we listed, like obviously Sheldon and Whitmire are on the side of like why not trade him? There's a possibility. Why not? While Clay Snowden, Greg Kuffner, Bryce Spalding, I mean, name the like guy. I mean, Nick Kirby, like, are all on the side of like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But the more that I hear the "what are you talking about" argument, I'm like, this might happen because there's so much reaction against it. I wouldn't put it past them, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
All I'm saying is, if you're going to do this, you better get an absolute haul, because not only are you giving up a top 5 pitcher in baseball, not just the National League, let's just say baseball, you're giving up the best contract for a pitcher in all of baseball, other than Paul Skeens. But Paul Skeens, I mean, does he even reach arbitration with Pittsburgh? I mean, are they going to pay him arbitration? Because year one, he's probably going to get like 20. And that's just going to grow. So the Pirates are going to have a decision to make too within the next season and a half-ish. But let's just say hypothetical, this happens. What package are you expecting? Because I'll give you a couple names, and you could say yay or nay. And these are probably going to sound very unrealistic, but I'm just going to go name 5 people, and you say yay or nay.
Okay.
Bobby Witt Jr.
No. Kansas City likes him too much.
Jose Ramirez.
He's 30, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
He's got a pretty favorable contract. History with Tito.
Yeah.
History of trading with Cleveland.
The small market aspect of Hunter's contract fits perfectly in Cleveland.
Yes, and they could use pitching. We could use a hitter. I want more than Jose Ramirez, but I'm just going to say the headlining player of a deal. Okay. I want prospects also.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I thought the
I
most
can't think. Jose
I thought
or
the most realistic, even though this is not realistic in my view, was Jaron Duran, Red Sox.
yeah,
A guy didn't he just get extended?
I believe so.
Which is probably why the Reds might not do it. But like in reality of what I would do as I guess a general manager in terms of he's a left-handed bat, a guy that will be good for years. In like trading for a guy that's under control for many years and it's going to be good. You don't feel as bad when you have like a Jaron Duran plus a player to be named later type of situation, maybe. And you don't feel like you're getting, basically robbed if you're getting that. Like, I understand you want a haul because I think me and you and many other of the people that we talk to feel very strongly about.
Yeah, because he should be untouchable.
Should be.
I'll give you two more names, and then we can move on to what you feel about it.
Okay.
Julio Rodriguez.
Oh, I don't think Seattle's doing that. No way. He's 24, man. Like, that's the same age.
He's 25.
That's the same age as Hunter, but, like, we're talking about...
And he's already extended?
Guys that plays every day, yeah. I even if the money isn't an object, I don't think Seattle is going to do that. Their pitching staff is pretty good anyway. They already got a bunch of Reds pitchers.
And then the last one, just throwing out a name, Fernando Tatis Jr.
No. Yeah. No. We're talking about untouchable guys for untouchable guys in theory, right?
But that's kind of my point though, because I'm not trading Hunter Greene for a 30-year-old pitcher with 2 years left on a contract that you're probably going to trade the next season to save money.
No, yeah.
Or somebody who is going into arbitration because you're going to end up having to pay them also. Like, I don't know who you could possibly feel confident about getting in return for Hunter Greene. Like Andrew Abbott, and I don't want to trade Andrew Abbott. I want that to be clear also.
Yeah.
I would feel more comfortable trading Andrew Abbott just because we know kind of what he is. Like, I don't know how much more of a ceiling grows and I'm not saying it's going to be bad.
No. Yeah.
But we don't know what Andrew Abbott's ceiling is compared to what he was this year. Does he get better than this year? Does he remain the same as this year? Or does he eventually fall off because he doesn't have the overpowering velocity? He doesn't have, that stuff, but he's also had his career year this year. I think we have 3 more years of team control because he came up later with Ellie in the same year. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. And Fred brings up in the chat, what's scary is Crawl mentioned he'd only trade pitching for prospects, not MLB bats. And that terrifies me. Just that better be like a 3-team trade where you get the number 1 and 2 prospects from both teams.
Yeah, like what Pittsburgh's guy, Connor Griffin. Like, you get him maybe, or Travis Bazzano over there in Cleveland, type of deal, or Charlie Condon, like guys that are in AAA basically.
Or you just go crazy and you say, "Hey, Athletics, give me Nick Kurtz and Brent Rooker for Hunter Greene."
Yeah, those are MLB at bats. MLB batters though. Like, that's not what he's saying, and I believe. Sean, he said that in a press conference recently when he was talking about he threw cold water on this theory, right? Like, as well. Like, he wasn't talking about that we're taking phone calls for Hunter Greene or anything like that. They made it kind of semi-clear that they're sticking with Elliott shortstop. They're sticking with, the front office, the way that they're going about their pitching and building it up with Hunter and all that. They didn't have any indication of that. All this stemmed from writers, right? Whitmire and Sheldon. None of the front office really hinted at any of this like possibility. And like I said, most of the conversation has been happening on X, has been happening on articles. Like, Clay Snowden wrote a whole article about how this would be a horrible decision. And Clay got so dramatic. He said that Reds fans should have a draw a line in the sand if this happens. And I was like, that's dramatic from Clay. Clay's not really maybe he's I don't know. I'm not accusing him of trying to get clicks, but like that was pretty dramatic. Like to say like, hey, basically if they trade Hunter Greene, you should consider your Reds fandom. I'm like, okay, maybe.
I mean, I almost agree with that. I mean, I'm always going to be a fan of this team until they move, according to Phil. But
where are you going to go, Ricky? Where are you going to go?
Where are you going to go?
God, I hate that
Speaking
guy.
of that, I'd love to get Brandon Sejo on just to get his thoughts on that moment. But like, I mean, I guess the only other guy I would ever even feel comfortable with would be Junior Caminero. Just like that, because he's a rookie. He's got 6 years of control. Like that. That's the kind of like that's what I'm looking for. I just can't fathom trading him for like some 27-year-old, unless you're getting like Aaron Judge. But that's not going to happen.
No, unless like the Yankees take 99% of that contract to pay for it.
Yeah,
like that's the only way. And that's I guess what we're trying to basically figure out is this just a situation where I don't know where Sheldon would even get this like this thought process, right? Because like he's the beat writer. He's not necessarily like Whitmire, who's an employee of a media company who's maybe just trying to get clicks. I don't think that's necessarily what Sheldon's after in terms of his line of stuff. A lot of his stuff is pro Reds, beefing up the organization, beefing up the players we already have.
He's the hype man.
To have this kind of come out of left field feels, like I said, it feels like it's weird because everyone, obviously, as it comes out, is immediately against this. And then it ends up being like this, like, I don't know. I sometimes have a very, obstinate, different thought because, hey, if everyone's against this, then there's this percentage that it could happen. That's what my thought went to, because I'm like, it's almost like the Castellinis. I feel like this is the image I have in my head is that, oh, you really want to bat? You really want to bat, Cincinnati fans? Well, here you go. I'm going to dangle Hunter Greene, and I'm going to leak it to Mark Sheldon that we're going to trade Hunter Greene so that you guys can get your beautiful power-hitting bat that this organization seemingly is not necessarily, I don't know, lining up to get Kyle Schwarber, not lining up to get Bellinger, lining up to get whomever is out there, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. This topic feels like pure off-season speculation. I hope.
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking through some top prospects by team. I'm kind of enticed by the Tigers.
Okay.
Max Clark's the number 8 overall prospect in baseball, outfielder, and Kevin McGonigal, I think is how you say his name, shortstop. Yeah. He's the number 2 prospect in all of baseball.
Yeah, and he's been playing in Arizona Fall League and doing pretty decent.
There's 2 that are in the top 10 of all of baseball in prospect rankings, and they don't seem like they're too far away from Major League time. It looks like Kevin McGonigal's time is estimated as next season, and Max Clark is estimated in 2027. He's still just 20. He was the number 3 overall pick in 2023, and I believe he's semi-local. I think he's from Indiana, if I remember right.
Okay.
Let me find out for sure. I don't want to misspeak here, but
and Fred actually brings up the point that even if this is a possibility, even if this does happen or doesn't happen, they still need to spend.
Yes.
So it's like this is not going to fix all the ills of.
But what kills me the most about this whole situation is that we drafted a guy, we extended a guy, and we got an incredible bargain on that player. Like, that's never going to happen again. Like, we're not going to get Ellie on this kind of contract. We're not going to get Marte on this kind of contract. We're not going to get Matt McClain on this kind of contract. We're not going to get Sal Stewart on this kind of contract. Like, we got arguably what could be, if he pitches a full season, the absolute best pitcher in baseball for like $8 million a year.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get Deneau on this kind of contract.
If we extend him right now.
Yeah.
But like, and I get what Carrick's saying in the chat. You can't say no without listening. Like, devil's advocate, like you listen to a trade offer. I hope that they get blown away. Like it has to be just the absolute biggest trade you can imagine. I'm talking like 7 prospects and a major league ready player. Like it's got to be good.
I mean, this kind of trade have any precedent? I'm trying to think like way back to like any certain guys that were under this much team control that could potentially be on the trading block. I mean, obviously, Skeens, I guess, comes to mind, but like that article seemed laughable earlier in the season. Who was that? Somebody put that out? That's actually like a national guy, right? That wasn't like the Pirates beat writer. It was like a Matt Varsegian or whatever his name is, or the bow tie.
I know who you're talking about. He's like MLB.com.
Yeah, so like that seemed laughable, but yeah, Fred's pointing out that Boston seems super into it. Yeah, but our guy, as a Red Sox guy, was like, sure, take Jarren Duran.
Yeah, I will gladly give up Jarren Duran to get Hunter Greene.
Yeah, they seem all for it over there. They're looking at all his stats, even though he had an injury kind of shortened season with 107 innings this year. It's still.
I got the trade for you.
Really?
We trade him to his hometown team, the Dodgers, and get Mike Sirota back.
And Ohtani?
I mean, if we get his $2 million, I'll be happy with that.
Exactly. And the Dodgers have to pay all the deferred money still.
So I don't even see any prospects on the Dodgers that I'd be like super intrigued about either. Like DePaula, he's their number 1 team prospect. He's an outfielder. He is 20 with the potential debut of next season. He has 60 grade power, 50 grade arm, overall 60 grade player. He's 6'3", 185. He's kind of slim. I don't know. Scouting report doesn't seem blown away by him, but they say he could grow into 30 homer power.
Really?
Which, give me that, but then he's also too much of a power hitter for our team, so we probably wouldn't trade for him anyway. We'd just flip him for another slap hitter.
Okay.
Zypher Hope is also an outfielder. He's the 20th overall prospect. He's the number 2 prospect for the Dodgers. He got drafted by the Cubs in 2023 in the 11th round. 60 grade power, 60 grade arm. I think he's in the Arizona Fall League. I think if this is up to date, he had a 470-foot home run.
Ooh. Yeah. Really?
But he's not expected to be promoted to the major leagues until at least 2027. So, okay. I mean, if we're looking at prospects, I'm just gonna go through all the top 100 players, and I'm just kind of seeing what team has the most in the top 100, and just kind of going from there. But Seattle has some. Cole Emerson is the number 9 overall prospect. Like I said, Julio Rodriguez on a prospect. Give me him.
Mm-hmm.
Need a center fielder. Friedel's not getting any younger. So he's 20, ETA of promotion next year, Colt Emerson. He seems to be a pretty solid hitter, more contact than power.
Yeah.
Right up Chris Faleka's alley. They said he's the best pure hitter in the minors, voted by MLB Pipeline's executive poll. 419 on base percentage entering this season in the minors. Oh, he went 15 for 17 in stolen bases last year, so he's got some speed to him. Shortstop, third baseman, don't know where you play him. Key Brian Hayes and Ellie, I don't know what you do. I'm trying to just put emphasis on, like, to me, Hunter Greene's untouchable. It's going to take a lot to sway me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And, you said this character, he's been chiming in. We talked about a little bit of the Mexican Pacific League a little bit. Ichiro Kano and Yael Romero will be playing at, he says, 10:30 tonight. Probably streaming on MLB.TV or something like that. Just like the Arizona Fall League. I've been watching that on that stream because it's actually at a better time. The Arizona Fall League is like 4:30 our time, 1:30 their time, which is great because then I'm not up too late. Not waiting for a game to end at midnight, like I think this Pacific League will be. And then the Reds. I guess to pour all the cold water that we have potentially on this situation is that this won't happen because the Reds.
Yeah.
Like
just because the Reds.
Just because this organization is not going to, if they're, I don't know. I feel like the more we talk about it, the more we're giving this air because this shouldn't be a conversation.
So let me ask you this, and this is a complete hypothetical. I don't want either one to happen. Do you trade Ellie this offseason or Hunter Greene this offseason? If you had to pick one, I don't want either one to go. Let me make that clear.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one, what would you do?
If I had to, you're like this conversation of like you have to. We obviously have a lot of shortstops in our system, and the mantra, especially for a smaller market team, is that you can't have enough pitching. So, unfortunately, I would trade Ellie if I had to. The question becomes what? You know what I mean? Like, what do you get for Ellie as well? So, I don't know. Greene obviously has his flaws. Ellie has his flaws. So you're not going to get, like you said, you're not going to get Aaron Judge back. You're not going to get – you might get only prospects back. That's the crazy thing is that we thought that there would be a possibility to get something back for like an Alexis Diaz. And we got a guy that I think he's in Daytona, right?
Yeah.
So
Villani.
So, like, he may never see the majors. And we still kind of won that trade because Diaz actually ended up getting, DFA'd?
He got DFA'd a couple times after that.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to, make Diaz supporters or make him feel bad about his, career choices. But I guess what I say is that our organization, the Reds organization, kind of got it right. That he was closer to the end than to his prime, to that 2023 All-Star level. So, thank you for your service, Alexis Diaz. But we're moving on. Carrick says that he'd rather trade Greene, though. Is that how you're thinking?
So I think if Ellie had the season that he had last year, this season,
yeah,
I feel like you could get a lot, like an absolute massive haul. And I still think you get a crazy offer for Ellie. And let me be clear, I don't want this to happen again for the 15th time. But
off season.
At least if it was today, you would get more back from Hunter Greene than Ellie. But Ellie's still, 22, 23? I think he just turned 23 this year. Turns 24 this offseason.
Yep.
So he's not even close to his prime, right? And he plays every day. So if we had this conversation last year, that was this season's time frame. I mean, what do you have? 80 stolen bases or 70 stolen bases last year? 67.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like Fred says, Ellie's impact on 150 plus games, it's insane. And Ellie was, on pace up until the All-Star break, MVP considerations, I think, had he finished the season strong. In Hunter Greene, he does struggle to pitch a full season. So I think other teams are going to recognize that too if the conversations happen. And we're not going to get what we want. And we're going to end up getting somebody like here's somebody threw out a trade offer the other day. All right. Hunter Greene, CES to the Mets for Mark Vientos, Jonah Tong, Brendan Sproat, and Carson Binge.
I know Jonah Tong's one of their top prospects. I don't know. That's a good one. I'd have to look a little bit into that, see what that – Vientos is a major leaguer. So, here's the thing. They're not trading him for that, according to Nick Kroll and Brad Meter. So, anyway, sorry to get all reality on you. But, that's kind of like the thing is This shouldn't happen because we shouldn't be trading these two for prospects. We need
you're wanting major league talent that's on par with his talent and preferably under contract, just because you don't want to have to worry about negotiating arbitrations again. That's why I point to somebody like a Julio Rodriguez. I know it's unrealistic, but just he signed like an 8-year contract like 2 years ago. So like he's still under control for like 6 more seasons, and I think he'll be 30 when he reaches free agency. So like that's prime. Trade him when it's close, you know, and you can get a solid 5 years out of him. But I don't know. I think.
Yeah. I don't. Any other thoughts on this? Because I think I'm gonna co-sign this statement with Fred. That best case scenario is just noise, off-season junk. There probably will be calls. Maybe that's why Sheldon's reporting on it. Is that maybe the Reds are already getting calls? So. Maybe that's what it is. It's not the Reds wanting to trade Hunter. It's everyone calling to say, "Hey, you got a pitcher that's like Cy Young worthy potentially, and is on $8 million a year. We'll take that contract."
Right. And maybe these phone calls turn into a Lodolo trade or a Abbott trade or name another pitcher trade.
Carrick says Singer, and Fred says yeah. Singer's on his last year of arbitration, right? So like he's not an unrestricted free agent, but he was on what 11, 12 million, or is that the projected arbitration? I forget.
I think projected's 12.
So he would think he was on 10 or something like that in that range. So okay, let's put that out there. Is Brady Singer worth his arbitration, his last year of arbitration, for the Reds to put out there 12 million? I think is projected.
Yeah, he had a better season than Nick Martinez did last year, and he made 21.5. So, and to be fair, Martinez had a pretty solid year. Just when you factor in money and our team's spending habits, it's tough. But I figure if Martinez was on any other team's payroll with the numbers that he had, you'd be okay with it. But yeah, I think Singer's worth 12. And then, maybe he's one of those guys you sign and then trade, and then hopefully you get a better deal than what the Royals got when we got him for Jonathan India.
Yeah. I think the Singer situation to me is he has provided something that the Reds haven't had. And the stat was that he was the first starting pitcher since 2021 to go 30 starts in a season. So, like, we're talking about Luis Castillo. Shout out to him playing, for the Seattle Mariners, who were in the playoffs. I think was in 2021. I think Malley as well did it in 2021, if I'm remembering right. But, like, guys that got 180 innings. This is 2021. So, like, yeah, and then losing Martinez because he's not coming back probably. They're not going to give him any, qualifying offer or anything like that, or sign him because he's unrestricted free agent. So this is a bit cheaper. Carrick saying is about 12, might get more. I think that's still probably worth their while. Do they get calls about Singer potentially? I mean, if he's signing for 13 mil, that still feel like it's like undervalued for starting pitching, right? I mean, he's not, top line talent, striking out 14 guys every outing type of stuff, but he provides that innings eater, that guy that's reliable to take the ball. He didn't go on the IL this year, so like he's like, again, another thing that doesn't happen with Cincinnati Reds pitching. It's like, so I would prefer him to be here as well. As much as he'll become the Nick Martinez of 2026, where he's going to be the guy that makes 13-14 million, and everyone's going to be like, well, why isn't he doing more? He's like, okay, I get it, but like, it's not necessarily his role. His role is going to be 4th, 5th starter. Hopefully a guy that wins 14 games, 15 games, and wins more games than he loses. And hopefully he'll be, reliable as ever, as he was this year, as he was before, which is why they did the trade originally with Kansas City, right? They were trading a Jonathan India, who is semi-reliable, not great defensively, a leadoff hitter that could, pick out basically a pitch and whatnot and walked a lot. But like, not setting the world on fire in terms of like a second baseman or just, you know, a guy that plays every day. So I think, again, we still won that trade, and there's still rumors out there that Jonathan India might get non-tendered and not get any. He might be, you know, let go from Kansas City. So we'll keep our eyes out on that. That would be kind of crazy.
Yeah, I was looking at some stats real quick. You mentioned that it was the most innings by a starter since 2021. In 2021, Wade Miley threw 4 innings less than Brady Singer did this year as the team leader, and he was 3rd on the team in 2021.
Yeah,
I think that's crazy.
Yeah. And no, I am not asking for a Reds reunion with Jonathan India. Fred. It's the opposite of what I'm saying.
Don't you want to see those luscious curls rounding 3rd, heading for home on a walk-off game-winning, you know, walk-off home run to clinch the division? Has a Jay Bruce type moment.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
No, that's going to be South Stewart this year.
Yeah. I guess who had the more kind of disappointing year, Jonathan India or Matt McClain?
Matt McClain.
Why they were throwing India at 3rd base, and he was making errors. I remember, like in the early days of April and May. So like he was. Anyway, not a Jonathan India show, not a Kansas City Royals show. Any other thoughts we got going for the Brady Singer of it all?
No, just, you know, if they trade him, hopefully it's just a solid, equally as good trade. I don't want a reverse India trade.
Well, I mean, it sounds like, you know, Carrick's on board bringing him back if he's the utility guy. Lux and Espinal isn't coming back.
Yeah, but Lux at least hit the ball this year.
I want to say that
he was the team leader in batting average at 269.
Yeah, that's not great. But yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I didn't think we'd spend this much time on Jonathan India because I want to say he'd be a lot more expensive too. Because
isn't Lux
these
would
two
be
guys
relatively cheap compared to India, I would believe.
India is on a 7.5 million arbitration for 2026. So like, yeah, he'd be a lot more expensive, I feel. But yeah, we'll see. Crazier things have happened. I'm not sure if I want to necessarily see that. I do see Fred Espinal becoming a bench coach. I feel like I've been saying this. He's going to be right next to Tito, right next to Velika, which transition. The debate over the hitting philosophy. Where do you want to start with this? I guess the mishits that we've obviously made fun of at points, the philosophy of moving the runner over, like, and also I guess just to talk about, J.R. House is gone. Is there a possibility Velika could be let go?
You know, the more I think about it, I just when they said that everybody's invited to come back, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to come back. And, you know, Tito could maybe decide he wants to make a change. Maybe Velika sees greener pasture somewhere. Because, I mean, I think we're going to talk about it, but J.R. House left, and he's going to Arizona in the same role that he's in. And you got to think that decision didn't, come lightly for him, I would think. Just you're leaving a playoff situation, a Hall of Fame manager. What did he see in Arizona that he didn't see here, I guess? Did he see potential managing there? Did he see maybe a potential higher role eventually there? I don't know. But I don't understand the Velika philosophy at Great American Ballpark. Like, if we played in like the Angel Stadium or, Tampa Bay or, name a park with a large, the Phillies ballpark, with a very spacious outfield. Like I'd be okay with it because it seems like when we go on the road, like the team hits better, depending on the starter we're facing, obviously. But you know, when we go to Colorado, granted it's Colorado and their team stinks, but we tend to hit a lot of doubles in Colorado, and I just don't think that philosophy of not focus, and I'm not saying you should focus on launch angle, but not putting an urgency on launch angle. Just, I don't know, like Ellie's swing this year, there was a noticeable difference in his ability to lift the ball. I think he had the highest ground ball rate of his career this year by like a lot. And that's not Ellie. Like we've seen Ellie launch balls, the last row of the ballpark, and that works for certain players. Like I think Noelvi Marte's swing is perfect for that philosophy because he hits the ball so hard. Like then when he's level with it, it's going to be a line drive in the gap somewhere. TJ Friedel, he's got that quick, two-hand swing that just rips balls down the line. Like that it works for TJ Friedel. I don't think it works for Ellie. And I think that them forcing him to do that, which it seemed like it was with the toe tap and everything else that happened this year, it's just, I don't know. I don't agree with it a whole lot, and I think if they move on, they should entertain the idea.
Yeah. Just to get to some of my comments. Yeah, I forget that if Jonathan India is non-tendered, he might come home on a sweetheart deal, hometown discount type of deal, if he's non-tendered. And I think characters talk about that J.R. House lives in Arizona. I first thought it was because he's a David Bell holdover, that David Bell and Torey Lovullo were pretty good friends. I thought that was kind of the connection and the hookup, that maybe there was a disagreement between J.R. House and Terry Francona and his new kind of philosophy kind of thing. That was my kind of first thought. But if he just lives there, maybe he's just trying to have a shorter commute. That's fair as well. Because, I don't know exactly who they're going to replace. I'm not sure if Carrick is putting out there Kirk Casale. I don't know if I want Kirk Casale out there at third base right now, as with no experience out there. But maybe it's a catcher coach is maybe what he's suggesting. But,
well, he's signed as like a assistant to the assistant to Crawl, I believe.
Okay.
He's in some front office capacity.
Not a coaching staff a lot. Okay, that's fair. That's maybe catching coach. That's what Carrick's putting out there. But the one thing that has been frustrating with this Reds offense, even besides the philosophy, is what Fred's been putting out there is hitting with runners in scoring position. There was a stretch, and it might have been that August stretch where we were really terrible. Is basically like we would have the bases loaded and like one out, no outs, and get nothing.
Yeah, how many times did that happen?
Yeah, and I know it happens sometimes to some teams, right? Like there's just situations, but like to have it happen kind of continuously, or at least felt like it was for a pretty decent stretch where they just couldn't get the runners in from a situation that like in many teams would be able to get like a sacrifice fly. And that talks about launch angle in a sense, right? Like if you're getting, pitches up in the zone, which they shouldn't be pitching you up in the zone, but you would take advantage of that to get the sacrifice fly. But it felt like we were grounding into double plays or grounding into, fielders' choices that would basically render us not necessarily being a big threat with runners in scoring position. So yeah. I don't know how they coach that. I don't know if that's just getting better players in those situations, not having, like the Gavin Luxes or not having the Espinals that seemingly when they get up to bat in those big spots, it doesn't happen. And I'm not just saying just those two guys. It obviously happened to Ellie as well. It happened to Benson. It happened to all the guys that would get in that situation. It felt like, okay, this can't keep happening, right? Like the dam has to break with boom, something happens, right? Yeah. And ironically, the game that we went to, Ellie had the grand slam against the Pirates.
Yeah.
since then, it felt like I don't think we had a grand slam since, unless I'm misremembering. So,
Yeah. So there's a couple of things I want to bring up. I've noticed with the change in philosophy that the ground ball double play has been a problem, and we've talked about that a little bit. But we're seeing guys that had great seasons last year in 24. And granted, the team wasn't great in 24, but there was glimmers of hope in certain players that you thought if they could sustain this, they're serviceable backups, serviceable players. And like Santiago Espinal is one. He had a career season in 2024. Most home runs of his career, most stolen bases of his career. He didn't even hit a home run this year. He had, I think, 9 last year. So I look at, I don't know why he has no stats on MLB.com. Makes no sense. His last stats on MLB.com are from 2023.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I know Baseball Reference had a couple days where they couldn't update stats and whatnot for a while. So, like, I'm not sure what that's about. But
let me pull up Baseball Reference.
Yeah, I'm getting on to that one. You're talking about Espinal still. Espinal 0 home runs, 16 RBIs, 243 batting, 292 on base. Not sterling in any way.
Yeah, so in 2024 he had 391 at bats. So he had 357 at bats. He had 56 more at bats last year than this year. He had 45 RBIs last year, 11 stolen bases, a career high. The 45 RBIs was his second best of his career, and that was 2022 when he was an all-star. He hit 246 last year. He hit 243 this year, but his slugging was up by 60 points, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
On base was only a little bit higher, but granted, he's not really known for walking. But like I'm trying to say is Espinal had some pretty clutch moments last year. And by clutch, I mean just not grounding in the double plays and moving the runner over when he needed to be moved over, hitting a ball in the gap when it needed to happen. I mean, he had 14 or 12 doubles. He had 12 doubles this year, but it didn't feel like it.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm kind of struggling with. Is it perception? Is it like how the basically the hitting coach and the front and the coaching staff kind of like have this philosophy and they let us know? Is it like the perception like is becoming reality in terms of like, because I'm sure in 2024 there were too many situations, as Fred puts out there, that too many situations they had the same thing of like no outs, 1 outs, and bases loaded. And I can probably, if I really think about it, that they probably had the same kind of situations and had too many of those where they didn't get anything out of it or got 1 run out of it or something like that. But is it just like the perception of them having this philosophy that everyone knows, they put it out there, they're not ashamed to talk about it in public. And then in reality, like, Ellie kind of had pretty much the same season as he did last year. Espinal had pretty much the same season except for some power numbers. Like, Spencer Steer pretty much had the same season of 21 home runs. Like, does it just feel different because they're a 77 win team that hit, I think it said 174 home runs as a team. But then this year they're an 83 win team. They only hit 167. Like a difference of 7 home runs. I don't know. I guess are we making too much out of this because basically the narrative is out there that they don't try to do that. They try to hit the runner over. They try to hit just line drives. Like that's what I'm trying to battle with is trying to figure out, is this just noise that we're just like gobbling up and internalizing? So then when we see them not hit the ball well or not hit for power, then we're just like, well, it must be that. You know what I mean? Like, it must be the philosophy, as opposed to we don't even know what the philosophy was for David Bell for the most part, other
See the
than
ball, hit the ball.
other than just like go out there and do Ellie things, Friedel do Friedel things, like, Spencer do Spencer things, run in the wall and get hurt and then keep playing on it. Like, I don't know, like I guess I'm trying to just in my own mind have a debate of like, because they front facing, put it out there, this is how we're going to play. Now, any failure of them to hit the ball for power, any failure for them to hit with runners in scoring position. Now, and I know it's a joke on Twitter because everyone throws Velika's face up there all the time, but like, it's kind of like that. Honestly, actually, now I think about it, 2024, the guy that was, I think Fred even put out there, was like a underachieving, like a coach. Like he had never coached at this level and doesn't have like the specification. Maybe somebody else that put it out there. I forget the guy's name, the hitting coach last year. I'm sure maybe the chat will help us out. But I remember him being put on blast all the time because he was kind of like not qualified to be in the position he was. I forget who it was now. But anyway, besides the point, it just feels like it now that they have a guy who is owning this philosophy, Velika. Now he's just a target for all of whatever goes wrong for these Redlegs. Now in 2026, if they hit the cover off the ball, if they hit for gap power, if they, improve their slugging, now all's forgiven, right? Is that what we're going toward?
Yeah, I guess maybe one of my points is, do you think that Nick Krall overreacted to 2024 and the lack of accountability and the lack of maybe lackluster at bats? Because there was, a lot of chasing that season. Was it as many walks? It felt like. Do you think maybe Krall overreacted by bringing in Velika, not only having him as the hitting coach, but the entire organization philosophy being what Velika wants?
Yeah, I can see it. I could see also because like the running into outs thing as well with Francona. Like we ran less this year, and that was to eliminate the possibility of running into unnecessary outs. It's almost like, I mean, maybe this is all actually not stemming from these two guys, Francona and Velika. Maybe this is coming from that Krall quote of eliminating the valleys, eliminating the peaks. Like maybe we're doing that.
Yeah, it's what it feels like.
We're eliminating the chase rate. We're eliminating the running in the outs rate. Like we're just trying to become a team. And to be honest with you, I mean, it kind of makes a lot of sense if you really kind of just big picture it and not just get every single decision and micromanage it. Big picture, we're not trying to do that kind of stuff where we're striking out way, way, way more than we did in 24 and 23. Or we're not going to be running in the outs, trying to steal second and third in unnecessary counts and basically giving away outs for free. Like that frustration has kind of subsided a little bit. We still strike out a lot as a ball club. It's still room for improvement, to say the least.
Yeah, so it was Joel McKeithen was the hitting coach, and there was 3 assistants or 2 more assistants, Tim Lamonte and Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw.
What?
One of the assistants' name is Terry Bradshaw that was fired. So
Really?
I figured we were so uneducated on hitting in 2024. We brought in Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw.
We might as well.
And it says, with the director of hitting title, Velika's philosophy will be the standard at all levels of the Reds organization. It will be similar to pitching coach Derek Johnson, who is also the organization's director of pitching. Yeah, but Derek Johnson's been successful.
Well,
it says in year 1, the biggest thing will be creating that identity, creating alignment between the message in the major leagues and the message in the minor leagues, that we are reading off the same music sheet here. We are going to work towards the same kind of game planning technique just for when these guys do make that transition to the major leagues. It's seamless. These guys are not going to be drinking out of the fire hose.
Well, that
Here's
answers.
why I got to disagree with that statement, because minor league pitching is a whole different animal than major league pitching.
Okay.
Like, no matter what, you're going to be drinking out of the fire hose.
I
You go from facing somebody like Randy Wynn, and no offense to Randy Wynn, but you go from facing Randy Wynn and Brian Van Bell in back-to-back games to facing Mitch Keller and Paul Skeens in back-to-back games.
Yeah. And Randy Wynn's a free agent, so thank you for your services.
Yes, thank you, Randy Wynn. Got a three inning save on Easter Sunday.
Yeah. And he's pitching in Dominican League, so he's trying to get a new job. So
He's a serviceable pitcher. I meant no slander towards Randy Wynn. But you see where I'm getting at. Like, minor league pitching is a whole different animal compared to major league pitching.
I think it's so just big picture stuff, because now I have my answer. Like we were talking about the last show about the minor league recap. We were talking about why is Rhys Hines not getting chances? Why is Will Benson not getting chances? Why
they don't align with their philosophy?
Yeah, why is a guy like Edwin Rios not getting chances? Because they hit the ball with power.
Francisco Urbaez,
Well, he hits for average.
And he's only like 29, I think.
28.
28. So, I mean, he's still like young, relative, And another thing, here's another quote from that article from when they hired Valaika. It said, cutting down on strikeouts and improving line drive contact are two of Nick Krall's primary objectives for 2025. Reds batters ranked 26th in batting, 231, and had the 9th most strikeouts in majors, with Ellie leading with a club record 218 strikeouts. Although Cleveland ranked 22nd in hitting in 2024, and the club's batters had the 4th fewest strikeouts. So that's what they want. They want fewer strikeouts and line drive hitting.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I'm with Fred on this as well. Like, I'm not asking for like we need to hit the ball like the Yankees. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just for power, because they have that short porch. We still have kind of a short porch situation going on for our ballpark as well. It's more like, I don't know, a little bit more power would be great. Just like I felt like how we kind of turned off being aggressive on the base paths. Like, everything in moderation. Like, let's not just completely freeze out the stealing bases. I mean, Ellie halved his totals. Like, went from 67 to 37 this year. To
be fair, though, I think his had a lot to do with injury.
True. Hopefully, and we'll see next year if that's the case.
Here's another quick thing about Valaika. It says the drawback of Cleveland's high contact approach was that it didn't create much optimal contact. The Guardians' barrel rate last year was second lowest in MLB, 5.8%, and the second lowest and the sport's lowest over the past 3 seasons.
Guess who's the third lowest in barrel rate?
And then the Guardians weighted expected batting on base average, take into the account quality of contact plus strikeouts and walks, tied for 23rd or worse each year from 2022 to 2024, including 26th this season. This was 2024 at 300, which was slightly worse than Cincinnati at 302. So it seems like when you take Valaika's approach and you look for line drive hitting, and we hear about South Stewart with his mishits being home runs. Mishits are also grounding into double plays. So when you have that philosophy and you have players who don't have great barrel percentage rates anyway, which I'm so clueless when it comes to analytics. I'm just kind of speaking on my tongue here. But when you have guys that, let's just say in particular, Gavin Lux, does he have the best barrel percentage? I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But it seems like when Ellie hits the ball, he's barreling it, right? It didn't seem like he did that much this year compared to previous years, which aligns with Valaika's thing. I just, if you're going to do that, you better have the players to do it. And I'm at a loss.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to give you some, some suggestion as to what to do. I mean, Carrick is talking about build it to the ballpark. We talk about building the roster to the ballpark. You know what I mean? Like we lament on how Benson and Reese Hines don't get necessarily a shot, but then you got Andahar, who was great when they traded for him, and Carrick says play him at third, or play him at first, trade Ke'Bryan Hayes, and move Sal to third. And maybe, yeah. I mean, why not? We want Sal. I thought Sal would be the everyday first baseman because, and we could talk about this a little bit later with the Gold Glove nominations. Thank you, Spencer Steer for holding it down first base, but I don't know if he's a future first baseman. I feel like we're a little bit aligned on that. But yeah, Andahar, I think the market says that he's probably worth like $6 million, right? If they overpay a little bit and sign him for $7 million for a year, kind of like, and maybe an option for the next year, kind of like they did with Hayes, go for that. $7 million and maybe an option for the next year, or a club option, whatever mutual option you want to do. Let's do that. Like, he kills lefties. That's something also we don't have. That also builds to the ballpark, because when he came on the scene, he had 4 home runs in like a month. So like, let's go. Like that seems like an easy option as well. The Ke'Bryan Hayes of it all, though, will probably go against Tito's saving runs philosophy, because I feel like they trade for Ke'Bryan Hayes, and that probably was if not a Tito decision, but like Tito telling them, hey, we need to get defense. And that's what they did, the front office. They went out and got him. So whatever that's worth, I don't think they are going to trade Hayes, even though his contract is like $7 million a year or something, like $8 million a year, but backloaded. Maybe they trade him in a couple years. I don't know. I don't see them doing it this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight Fred's comment here. Are you willing to add 100 strikeouts for LA selling out for a home run every at bat? You know, he was on pace for a career high in home runs this season. I think he was on pace for like 34 up until the All-Star break.
August. Yeah.
And he had a career low in strikeouts. So I think he just began pressing too much towards the end of the season when he started struggling. It's a learning experience for him. I think he's going to learn that, just play the same way every time, and eventually you'll get back. Unlike Nick Kroll, you have peaks and valleys in a season, and you got to learn to accept the valley to rise to the peak. And when you have those struggles, you're 23 years old and your second full season in baseball. Like, we kind of saw the same thing at the end of 23, where I think he had his second longest streak without hitting a home run, where he finally broke out in that Cleveland game with 2 home runs in a game. But yeah, I don't think he strikes out 100 more times. I think if he, because I don't know. I think Ellie's just a different animal.
Yeah, I don't think selling out for home runs is the answer necessarily for getting Ellie back on track. I'm obviously, this is easier said than done, but I'd like to see him get back to like a 2023 Ellie, where we're seeing him hit the ball in the gap, and we're not sure if it's going to be a double or triple based on how quickly he's getting around those bases and how quickly outfielders get to it. Like, that's what I feel like I was kind of missing from this year. And obviously, my memory can obviously be glossing over all those strikeouts that he had in 2023 as well. But I feel like that was missing from his game. And that, again, could be because of that quad leg injury, lower leg injury, whatever it was, that slowed him down. And he just said, no, not today. I'm not taking any rest. That might be that is maybe why he's, we're hoping that could be hopefully the main reason why he wasn't himself. And then 2026, fully rested, not playing any Dominican League, not playing any off-season stuff. Hopefully just going to get in his workouts, and we'll see him in spring training, in February, and he'll be back to his, usual happy, smiling self. So
yeah. I think the perfect example of Ellie, of what he can do, and I get this is kind of like an extreme example, but his cycle game, just the variety of hits that he had in that game. He had the extremely hard hit line drive for a double that I think was like 112 off the bat. And then he had a broken bat single up the middle. He had a just towering home run that just barely scraped the fence, gets over. And then he has that ball in the gap that he hits at like 116 for a triple. Like just the variety of just hits he had in that game. Just Ellie's problem from 2023 was just learning the strike zone. You go from the automated strike zone to an MLB strike zone, which there's a lot of variety, and you see him take a lot of close pitches that would probably be called a ball with ABS that don't get called a ball without ABS. And it's a different thing. You're adjusting to very talented and skilled pitchers that know, scouting reports on everybody, and you're still learning these pitchers because you've never faced them before. And it's easier for a pitcher to gauge a hitter. That's why you kind of see in the beginning of the seasons, typically pitchers have an advantage on hitters, and then later in the season, hitters get the advantage. But yeah, I think they're overcoaching him in a way. I think just with Ellie, you just got to let him be Ellie and just learn the strike zone. That's it. If Ellie figures out the strike zone, he's going to be a 300 hitter, 35, 40 home runs, 60 stolen bases, 100 RBIs, MVP candidate.
So what I'm hearing is that we need to have David Bell come back to unlock full potential Ellie.
Oh.
Just chaos ball Ellie is what you're saying.
Bring back Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw. Maybe
Sure. I have no idea.
Maybe he was the guy.
Could have been. Here's a quick question. Is there a possibility that we would have Marte play center, move to center, and be able to have him be the everyday center? Oh, I don't know. I guess maybe the guy that eventually replaces Friedel.
It looks promising. I do like him in right. I think his arm profiles well to right field, but I'm not against it because he's very athletic, and I think he has pretty similar sprint speeds to Ellie. If he figures out the position, which he got thrown in right field on a whim, and I think he performed admirably. In the center field game he had, I think it was in the Dodgers series where we got swept for the first time. He kind of struggled in that game, but then again, it was his very first time in a game playing center field. I think he could do it. I'd like to see him do that in the Winter League, center field, right field, just play those two positions. But that kind of brings me back to the Hunter Greene discussion, to where you trade Hunter Greene and you get a Fernando Tatis, and you put him in right with Marte, and then you sign, let's just say, Andujar, and you stick him in left, and you just forget about defense, which I know his defense isn't great, but I don't think it's as bad as what we think it could be, just because I think he performed all right. I think he could be a better outfielder than Lux. And then you go out and sign Schwarber, and he's your DH.
Yeah. I don't see Marte playing center field in 2026 unless it's like toward the end of the year. Yeah, like I'm not sure if that's like the 2026 plan right off the bat. I mean, I'm trying to look up real quickly if he's not playing. Who did he sign for in Dominican League? Oh man, I forgot already. Wasn't it Gigantes?
I think so. I think that's usually a team he goes for.
Okay.
Real quick, what do you think is the most realistic option, hypothetically, if Friedel gets traded? Hector Rodriguez or Marte in center?
Hector. I'm a big Hector fan. That's why I'm saying like it'd have to be like if they deal Friedel, or Friedel is like injured or something like that. He'd be
You know who we're not talking about in center field?
Benson.
Will Benson.
Yeah, well, my take is he's going to be traded this year. Like winter meetings, he's going to be the first guy to go because he's not high on the depth chart, so to speak. Not that Lux and Blake Dunn should be automatically ahead of him, but that's another podcast. I feel we can go on that path. So, Carrick saying that Hector doesn't think he plays center. I thought he played center for Chattanooga. I'm not remembering it wrong. It was at Austin Hendrick that was playing in center.
I think Hendrick typically plays in right.
Got it all.
Hendrick has a cannon for an arm.
Does he?
He's got a very strong arm.
Hey man, I think they put in Fangraphs that he'd be potentially in AAA next year. So, and that's if the Rule 5 draft, and we can talk about that if you want, or I don't know.
We can touch on it real quick if you'd like.
Yeah, I was looking through it, and I'm just looking through Fangraphs, so I'm not necessarily saying it's the God's honest truth, but there's a lot of guys eligible for this draft. A lot of guys we probably don't want to be taken off our organizational chart. I mean, we got Easton Sikorsky, got Hunter Parks, Logan Tanner, Ruben Ibarra, Francisco Urbaez, Victor Acosta, Edwin Arroyo, Leo Balcazar, Hector, Austin Hendrick, Carlos Jorge, Jay Allen. Like, those are the guys that – Jay Allen was the center fielder. Yeah, that makes sense for Chattanooga. Jose Franco, Yerlin Confidan, Jose Acuna, Ryan Cardona, Jonathan Harmon, Nestor Laurent, Jared Lyons. Like, all these guys are potentially Rule 5 eligible. So, like, they got some decisions, I guess, to make in terms of who they're adding to their 40-man to protect them, because I'm not sure where they go with that, or if it's just a situation where they just kind of see who doesn't get taken in the draft. And it's about 6 weeks, right? Like, it's going to be beginning of December, I believe.
Yeah, it's not far off.
So
there's not many guys on that team that I see getting picked up.
Really?
I mean, like, the one that I really think of would be like an Austin Hendrick, just because first round pick, probably projects to Louisville this year. You get him on a team that has a decent hitting coach, and you can kind of stash him on the major league roster. Let's just say like a Colorado. Not saying they have a good hitting coach, but just a Colorado type team that they could stash a player.
Yeah.
And then kind of develop on the fly. But it's really not typical seeing like position players get selected by other teams. And yeah, I agree with this comment. Arroyo and Hector have to be protected. Yeah, I mean, Hector could be on the Reds at some point this coming season, and Arroyo very well too. I mean, he had a really good year, and it just depends on what you do with Arroyo. You got to make a decision on Ellie. Is he your shortstop for the foreseeable future? Do they have any plans to extend him at all?
Yeah.
Do they view him as a third baseman? If so, what do you do with Ke'Bryan Hayes? If not, I mean, Ellie, his arm strength belongs in the field. His speed belongs in the field.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of moving him into the outfield just because of the injury risk that is out there. But then you also see Ellie make some boneheaded plays where he runs, 150 feet for a ball, and where the right fielder or the left fielder very easily could have just ran 20 feet and got the ball. But they kind of back up because they see Ellie running at him, and then the ball gets dropped. Or now with Ke'Bryan Hayes, who is obviously a Gold Glove candidate.
Yeah,
I don't know. There needs to be some discussions, I guess. I don't like the idea of moving him, but then you're creating that logjam with Edwin Arroyo that he hasn't played anywhere else in the minors. And then Balcazar, I mean, I would protect him, but I just don't see him getting picked up by anybody because he's still just got promoted to Double-A this year.
Yeah.
He's still like 2 years away, so I doubt he would get picked up this year. Pitchers, I don't see Jose Franco getting picked up by anybody. I don't see Jose Acuna getting picked up by anybody. Jose Acuna had a really rough year. I think he was like 2-10.
Really?
Or no, that was Nestor Laurent. Sorry.
Yeah, Nestor Laurent had the rough year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he had a great year, Jose Acuna, but I just don't think, like, if they were all AAA pitchers that were like, had a high chance of getting to the majors out of spring training. Like Luis May last year had to be protected. His arm talent had to be protected. Zach Maxwell, you have to protect a guy like that. I think Callahan probably could have snuck through. They protected him anyway. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with Carrick talking about like protecting Leo Balcazar as well. He's been doing pretty well. I think he's got a hitting streak going on. I don't think he actually played today for Arizona Fall League, but he's
up like 375 for the Fall League, right?
Today it was only, I think Luke Hayden was the only Reds guy that went out there, and he got shelled and got the loss. I think in 2/3 inning he got like 4 earned runs. So kind of a rough outing for Luke, and hopefully he can bounce back from that because he's definitely one of the good ones. I think as far as I saw, I don't know if he's got promotion necessarily in his sights because his second half of the year was rough compared to his first half, but that's what the fall league's for. Is hopefully getting some work and working on some things.
Yeah. So what do you think? Who would you protect other than the obvious two?
Yeah, looking at this list, I mean, if we're going with the thought process that hitters aren't necessarily claimed as much, like I'm not seeing Ruben Ibarra or even Francisco Urbaez possibly getting claimed. Like our pitching's possibly like Easton Sikorsky because he's kind of like a high on our.
He's a little older prospects. Too, right? A
little bit older, yeah. But like that's the first one that comes to mind because all these are kind of like. Except, Francona, Ryan Cardona is Rule 5 eligible, so that may be one that you protect, possibly. I'm not sure what chances he has to being claimed. Jonathan Harmon's on here, and he's another Arizona Fall League guy. I don't think he has any chance of being claimed because he's a little bit older, and he's not necessarily been – he's coming off of Tommy John, I think, just a year ago. So, I don't know. And then maybe a Jared Lyons. Maybe that's one because he's projected to be in the AAA one of the pitchers for Louisville next year. So maybe that if pitchers are necessarily claimed more, yeah, I don't know. Like I would say protect those pitchers, Cardona, like a Lions type of situation. Nestor Laurent technically is, but like you say, he's coming off kind of a rough year. So hopefully no one's sniffing around him. But yeah, I guess that's my philosophy is if can't have enough pitching, might as well protect the guys that potentially are a little bit on the younger side, but are going to be potentially AAA pitchers. Might as well keep those. So, yeah. All right. And Carrick's saying that Cardona is only maxing out at 90 miles an hour, so he's probably not getting claimed. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm not totally an expert on the Rule 5 draft. To be honest with you, it's kind of one of the weirder things in our sport in terms of guys that are eligible, not eligible, how they get that. I mean, obviously, I'm not a complete expert because my preseason pick was the Cooper Bowman was going to be the first guy called up to the big league club. The Rule 5 guy from Oakland or Sacramento now, I guess is where he went back to. So, yeah, not claiming to be any expert in any sort of it. I'm just keeping our eye out because we've got a bunch of prospects that are eligible, and hopefully they'll still be with us, in about six weeks' time. But, yeah, we'll see. We will see. Any other thoughts with that?
No. Just hopefully, the guys that we don't protect are worth their weight to where they don't get picked. And, I mean, obviously you want to see guys succeed and advance and get promoted. But yeah, I mean, I guess the hardest one for me is just Edwin Arroyo because I like his game. I like what he does. It's just where does he play? And if anything happens to Arroyo, I hope it's via a trade and not a claim. If he doesn't remain here, which I would prefer.
There is so many rumors last trade deadline or this past season's trade deadline that he was going to be in a package potentially. That never really happened. It was Sammy Stafura, obviously, that ended up being the shortstop that we ended up dealing for Brian Hayes. So yeah, I don't know. I think the organization, I would say, likes him enough that they're going to keep him around.
He fits their mold of line drives and defense.
So there you go. I guess that's how we'll know basically who gets protected or who gets end up promoted and whatnot. So I think Cam Collier will probably be knocking on the door of the big league club sooner than later, because he is a guy that line drive hits and has a pretty good plate approach as opposed to.
I think we'll talk about this more once we get closer to the season, but I genuinely believe Cam has a Sal Stewart type year next year where he dominates AA, gets promoted to AAA, and then it's just a matter of time.
Well, here's the question. What position does he play?
Oh man. See, that's the $1 million question, because that revolves around what you do in free agency this year. If you do happen to luck into a Kyle Schwarber, he's obviously your DH. You're moving on from CES at that point, because I think Sal or Cam has better defensive potential at first compared to CES. CES doesn't really fit the mold of defense and line drive hitting. Sal Stewart and Cam Collier do. Cam's got a beautiful left-handed swing, and he's left-handed, so that's another plus. Like, we can never have too many left-handed bats. I wouldn't mind seeing, because I know Sal played second base, played third base. I wouldn't mind seeing one of them learn an outfield spot, just for flexibility's sake.
Yeah.
Because I think, thank you for your service at first base, Spencer Steer. You're a Gold Glove candidate. You're not going to win it, but thank you for your service at first base. Cam Collier 1 year in will be an upgrade over Spencer Steer offensively. Sal Stewart in a full season will be a massive upgrade over Spencer Steer offensively. Defensively, Steer is a below average outfielder and a above average first baseman with terrible power and terrible batting average, respective to the position.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're keeping Cam, he has to play first base. I think he's a better defender at first base than Sal Stewart. But then Sal Stewart, where do you, because we talked about it at the beginning of the season, before the season started, our dream lineup for 2026.
Yeah.
And, we had no idea about Brian Hayes. It never even seemed like it was a radar thing.
No.
And we had said Sal Stewart at third, Elliott short, Matt McLean at second, Cam Collier at first. I think we even joked and said Kyle Schwarber at DH.
Yeah.
And we had our outfield. And I think I'll have to go back and find this. I think I may have even mentioned Marte in the outfield back in March. I'll have to see. I may have been the first person on that bandwagon. But
yeah,
I mean, that seemed like it was like the dream scenario was getting those two in the infield. And Spencer Steer, super utility. He's actually, his best position is second base, defensively. Maybe you revisit that if Matt McLean struggles again next year. But
we can get down that rabbit hole as well, in terms of Anyway, I think I was really getting on with this comment that Cam probably be first base and Sal can learn the outfield. I think Sal's, he's got more of kind of like the outfield power look to him, even though that playing first base would be probably comfortable for him as well. But like, if we're going to have a situation where we're going to have a log jam at first, I think Cam would probably be over Sal, basically because Sal will have more flexibility, right? He's been able to be all over the diamond, right? I don't think he's ever played the outfield in a stretch. So, yeah. Seems like actually you weren't the first talking about Marte the outfield.
I saw his athleticism just translates.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he was going to figure it out at third base.
Yeah.
Just because the year he had in 23, he looked like a future Gold Glover. I remember during the season I was watching a Locked On Reds live stream, and I think it was Steve who was live just taking questions from the chat, and I threw out the question. I said, "Do you see a Gold Glove in the future of Noelvi Marte at third?" And the whole chat and him agreed. Like, that seems possible just because he played defense so well at third his rookie year. Well, his first year.
Yeah.
And then everything went wrong last year. Like literally everything that could go wrong last year went wrong. And I think it just messed with his head.
All right. I don't know if you want to have any other comments on this, but I was starting to write down in my little notepad over here. Opening day
notebook.
Opening day lineup 2026.
Ooh.
Every position, DH as well, starting pitcher and the closer. I'll give you a little bit of time to think on this because I think I got a pretty good. I think this is realistic / possible. Carrick Sandy's still a couple years away. I hope not. I hope he's ready in 2026.
MLB Pipeline still has his ETA of 2026.
I hope.
So
I hope
he could be very late next year if everything goes right.
Yeah.
But it does seem like it could be a possibility of 27.
Yeah. All right. So to get into this, I've got from catcher down to closer. And like I said, I'll give you some time, or if you want to just kind of go off mine and make some adjustments. Okay. I got catcher, Ty Steve, if he's healthy. I guess we could put that asterisk there. Otherwise, it might be Trevino. Sal at first, McLean at second, Key Brian Hayes at third, Elliott short, Steer, Friedel, Marte in the outfield, DH, Gino Suarez, and Hunter Greene starting. And closing, Ian. Oh no, wait, not even. I actually think Emilio Pagano will be back. I'm gonna put that out there. He really likes Cincinnati. I remember actually back in the middle of the season, they had like a faith night, and Emilio Pagan participated in it and was really eloquent, really well spoken, talking about his faith and whatnot, which is great to hear. And I think he really likes Cincinnati. His wife was also there and talked about it too. He really likes Cincinnati. So shout out to him. But I think Emilio Pagano will be back to close.
All right, before I name mine, I'm going to highlight Carrick's here.
All right.
First base, Andujar. Second base, McLean. Shortstop, Ellie. Third base, Sal.
Yeah, he's on the trade.
Marte and right. Friedel, Tyler O'Neill.
Okay.
Who do you have as DH? We'll bring that up too.
Gino, hopefully.
Bring him back. I think we've stalled enough.
What do you got?
I'm going to have opening day starters. Catcher, Jose Trevino. I think him and Hunter Greene have a connection.
Yeah.
So I think he might prefer him a little bit more. I think it's solely preference. So Hunter Greene, Trevino as your 1 and 2. And then first base is going to be Spencer Steer.
Wow.
Second base, Matt McLean. Shortstop, Ellie. Third base, Key Brian Hayes. Left field is going to be Gavin Lux. Center field is going to be Noelvi Marte. And right field is going to be Will Benson.
Oh, man. That's
DH Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, there you go. And your closer?
Closer is going to be Zach Maxwell.
Oh. No, right there. He didn't give you a DH, but he gave you a Hunter Greene starting and Tony.
Hey, you know what? He's earned the right to fight for it.
As long as his arm's still.
I'll give you a wild card closer.
Okay.
Chase, Connor Phillips.
Oh, yeah. I could be a big time setup man. I don't know if he's got the closer stuff, man. He's still young, could be frazzled easily. You know what I mean? That's why Emilio Pagan was a nice breath of fresh air in terms of
that's
like
my 2025 wild card 2026 closer.
Okay.
My mind will probably change before spring training.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen between now and then. I mean, just free agency.
You want to know an even crazier one?
For what?
Leon Richardson in the rotation.
To start, I can see that. I mean, they started with who was in the rotation to start the year? Can't wait because Abbott was hurt.
Oh gosh, I see him. Jeez, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Carson Spires.
Yeah, shout out to him. Is he still with the org? I can't.
Yeah, he actually made rehab starts towards the end of the year, and I think he might have had an issue during his rehab stint, and they shut him down, I believe.
Okay.
Either that, or it was just so late in the year that would just kind of like, eh. All right. So what's your rotation look like?
Oh gosh, I didn't
pre free agency.
Pre free agency, it's probably they run it back. You know what I mean? Like I'm big on Singer, so Abbott, Singer, Zach. I'm just kidding. No, probably like putting in Brandon Williamson in for like a Zach Littell, and then who else have we got? We got like a
Chase Burns,
but he's on innings limit, so he's going to be in the bullpen. I feel like a lot of the year, unless they really need him to start. I don't see it. You know what I mean? Who else we even got?
Louder.
I think Lodolo starts the year starting again because I think that's what they see him as, and I think that's possibly he'll morph into that long reliever role, Nick Martinez role, as the season goes on. If he has blisters issues, whatever. So that'd probably be Greene, Abbott, Singer, Brandon Williamson, and Nick Lodolo. That'd be my 5 right now.
Okay. I am going to go with, I guess in order, Greene, Abbott, Lodolo, Louder, Burns.
Oh, I forgot about Louder.
And then I think Singer probably gets traded, but he would be your new Martinez role for now.
Yeah.
And I think this is the season we see Nick Lodolo traded because I don't think they're going to extend him. And if he comes out strong, and let's just say in May and June, he's, a 3.5 ERA or lower, I think he's gone.
Okay. Yeah. You've been on that trade Lodolo since last year as well. So like this past season. So maybe I mean they liked him enough to put him in a playoff game this year. So
yeah, they picked him in the rotation in the roster over Singer, which is I found that odd, and I get it. Singer pitched on Saturday.
So did Lodolo. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I feel like you probably could have had a better opportunity, but then you have a lefty with Lodolo, so I get it. But
yeah, younger guy as well. Player, whatever. Anyway, we could talk about that playoff decision making.
That's months. A show in itself.
Yeah, I like Charlie G's first question to him to be like, hey, why didn't Abbott pitch? How come Marshall's not thinking about that?
I saw a tweet today by Chatterbox's Trace Fowler. And he's real good about posting and deleting, so I don't know if he deleted it or not. But
is it about the Gold Glove?
Yeah, it was about he said, I can't help myself. I said I was moving on, but just one more here. Steer played left field in an elimination game. So either the Gold Glove award is flawed, the manager was insanely clueless, we didn't care about left field defense, or all of the above. Fun times in 2025.
My first thought when we put that out there, because I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to get through, but Cal Raleigh is a former Platinum Glove catcher, was not named a finalist this year.
Yeah.
And he had his first pass ball of the season in the playoffs. What does that mean?
And did you see the throw he had to get that runner?
Yeah.
Was it in extras?
Was that
the ninth?
Game 5 game?
Yeah. And he put that
remember.
thing. You couldn't put that ball in a better spot.
I guess, yeah. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think it's flawed because usually what I've heard about Gold Glove is like, if you've won one before, you're like automatically a finalist the next year because like it's just like we know you're good at defense, but maybe the metrics have come so far that it could possibly be that he could be a Platinum Glove winner one year and not be on the finalist list the next. But like I don't know, like I guess hitting home runs makes you bad at defense. Don't tell Chris Felica that.
Yeah, I just and I'll harp on this too. I think Steer's first base defense is extremely rated.
He got better.
His when the ball is thrown right at him, I mean,
okay,
he gets every ball. But when it comes to scooping, and there's stats behind this, I looked it up. He is the 19th first baseman when it comes to scooping.
So you're saying that the system's flawed because he's...
Yeah, I just think that they see fielding percentage, and that's it.
That's it? No, there's got to be more than that. There's that about above outs average, whatever it's called.
Yeah, but I mean, I
don't
average. Know. And I get that. He was like third in that category, straight. I think. It was like a +6 the last time I looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand it, but there's been so many throws that I saw to where and I get it, you're comparing him to Joey Votto, but if Joey Votto was playing first base, he scoops it.
Yeah.
Like there was the Easter game, I think, or it was that series where Marte threw a ball to first, and I kind of had a back and forth on Twitter about it, where
the foot positioning game.
Yeah, where he had his foot on the entirety of first base, and the ball just got away. And I tweeted, you got to scoop that, and there was some pushback saying, well, I played first base. That ball hit the lip of the grass. And I went back and I screenshotted it. And I was like, no, dude, that ball was 3 feet inside the dirt. You got to scoop that as a first baseman, as a professional first baseman.
I'll say this. Yeah, that was in April or so. Yeah. I'd say this. I don't think it's flawed. I think they're somehow like giving him a most improved first baseman award because he got better as the year went.
Yeah, he did. It was his first full season.
Yeah,
at first base too. Like, I'll give him credit. Like, I'm not saying he's trash. I think that there has to be, I guess, some kind of accountability to not being very good at scooping.
Here's the bigger issue. We're talking about Spencer Steer learning on the job. And we're also talking about Noelvi Marte learning on the job in right field.
Sal Stewart learning on the job, first base.
Had a bad scoop in the playoffs and basically, cost a couple runs there. Not here nor there. I'm only saying is that there was a wise Brenneman that says the major league level is not for learning. It's for playing. And if you're still learning the position, then you're not helping the team. That's
why you have minor leagues.
Exactly. And obviously this can be applied to the Ellie making errors at short. This can be applied to whomever you put out there, right? Like they had playing third, Marte playing third. Like he was learning again to throw the ball again. Like that is for the minors, right? So I don't know. Will this issue with the Reds where they're kind of having to have players learn while also playing going to be a thing in 2026? I hope not. I hope that Friedel will play 130, 150 games again this year, and Marte can play 130 in right. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to see Marte playing 100 games in center, just because he'd be learning it.
Yeah, and I don't want to see Santiago Espinal take it up 300 plus at bats.
Oh, you're gonna put that take out there again?
I am putting that take out there again. I'm okay if he comes back. If he comes back, fine, because I think he gets better than what he was this year.
Can't be worse.
He can't. He could. He could be Matt McClain, but I think if you give Espinal 200 at bats, I think that's like a good number.
He's gonna have 201.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, well, William S. says he'd rather have him in right than third. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't want him in center opening day.
Yeah, for him learning right field, he was better at right field than third base this year.
He had a couple weird paths to the ball situations.
That's the learning aspect. But like,
was,
how many putouts did he have throwing guys out? We just don't see that.
Right. Well, that's the thing. You get a lot more reps in the infield, in the outfield. It's more of like it's kind of like being a goalie in soccer. Everyone knows when a goalie makes a mistake in soccer because it ends up being a goal. Same thing in the outfield. Everyone knows when you drop the ball in the outfield, right? Like, or a ball gets past you and you misplay it.
He saved the season.
Okay, so all is forgiven.
I mean, in all reality, that catch to rob that home run, that saved the season.
Yeah. I mean, no lies.
Because it came down to us losing Game 3 of the series versus the Brewers and the Mets losing. So had we have lost that Pirates game, we would have been eliminated.
We would have been swept by the Pirates.
Yes.
Come on. We don't deserve to go to the playoffs. You get swept at home by the Pirates. I know one of those games was Skeens. I know the second game, I forget who the pitcher was. But it's just it's like getting swept by the Athletics. Oh wait, that happened. Oops. Oh. Anyway, I don't know if we got any more jokes to get off at any more people that say, yeah, don't let Santiago Espinal play the field. Yeah, hitting in the double plays. We didn't even hit on that in terms of the hitting philosophy. There was a lot of that this year, it felt like. Just a lot.
Yeah, we had a whole segment on philosophy earlier in the show. If you missed it, William,
watch it back.
We don't agree with it.
No, and nothing we could really do to change except complain about it, really, because it's not like.
Where are you gonna go?
Yeah, it's not like Velika's listening to our podcast. I don't think. Maybe
it'd be funny. He's like the one. He's like, who's these guys?
You said that on Instagram. We can see if anybody tunes in. We have to keep our.
Yeah, it'd be funny. It's like Reds. It just says like RDOH, Reds Director of Hitting. I'm like Chris Velika.
CV RODCV.
Yeah. RODCV 25.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. We can only hope. We'll keep an eye out for.
And like, to be fair, like if the philosophy works, it can be successful. It's just when you have. Here we go back into that segment. But when you have like what the stats said, it was a Charlie G article on Fox 19.
Yeah.
For reference, if anyone wants to look it up. It wasn't like Cleveland had excellent numbers offensively when it came to like barrel percentage and all
they had to get a negative run differential this year.
They got carried by Steven Kwan and Jose Ramirez. Like when they have Jose Ramirez hitting 330 with like 45 home runs and Josh Naylor with, 20 plus home runs and Steven Kwan hitting like 300 or better. Like you look good. But when the rest of your guys are hitting like 220 with, high double play rates, it's just not a recipe for success that you can't rely on. And that's why, I brought up, if you're going to trade Hunter Greene, give me Jose Ramirez because I know what he can do.
Yeah. I got two thoughts. Maybe this is the valley of our hitting and next year will be a peak. You know what I mean? Kind of like how we had such a terrible one-run record last year, and then this year we're 500, 21 and 21. Last year we're like 12 and 30.
It was ugly.
It was bad. But anyway,
you knew if it was a one-run game, we were losing that game.
It was bad. It was really bad. I mean, we'd be in it because we had really good pitching in 24 as well.
You felt good until the game.
Not enough hitting. Not enough hitting. And then the last thought that I had is, William Wright. We talked about J.R. House going to the D-backs. If Chris Velika could go as well, I will open up a beer and drink it.
We will go live.
I don't know about that. Well,
Be an
maybe
emergency pod.
yeah, or we'll have a video. We're just here, playing what's that song? Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back? Anything like that. But yeah, I don't know. Is that it? Is that the
Should be that.
All right, yeah. But anyway, if you got nothing else, Rick, I don't think I got any more jokes at anyone's expense anymore.
Yeah, I think I'm all out of bad
Material.
hitting puns.
Yeah, no more Julio Rodriguez trade propositions.
I just say that as a pipe dream.
Yeah, that's what we hope that all this hubbub is about. It's just congestion.
Yeah, to round it back to where we started.
Yeah.
If you're going to trade Hunter Greene, it better be for an all-star, and it better be for somebody under a lot of team control. And prospects.
Yeah.
Good
Gunnar Henderson? Orioles thing.
Hey, if you trade the Orioles, you give me Jackson Holiday and another, I don't know, their catcher.
Adley Rutschman?
You give me Adley Rutschman and Jackson Holiday and a decent prospect, I'll take it.
All right. We'll end on that. And hopefully
I don't want it, but
your lips of God's ears on that one, and hopefully we'll get that going.
Dude, if that was a trade that happened, I will cry. Why
did
they put that out there?
I don't know. You never know. You never know. But I don't know. I got nothing left. I think we'll just sign off and go Reds.
Go Reds and don't trade Hunter Greene.